Welcome to Elevenses once again, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Martina Vincenzi and I am the founder of the VIP Flight Attendant Academy, Private Jet Coach. This is the business aviation podcast called Elevenses, where we discuss about different dynamics of the corporate aviation industry, so private jets and VIP flight attendants flying on private jets. And today with us we have my favorite victim, Alessia Cortesi. Welcome, Alessia, once again.
Ciao, nice to be here again. And as I was saying, it's very nice to be here. It's getting for me inspiring, coming back and talking. And so I'm getting new idea for the future.
I'm good that this podcast is inspiring not only the people outside but also us.
Getting something back from this.
Exactly. Yes. In fact, Alessia is not the first time that she participates to the podcast Elevenses. She's actually a sort of a recurrent guest that we have. We have already recorded a couple of more videos about very interesting things because Alessia's experience is extremely interesting, and although is not directly related to private jets, it is related to the VIP hospitality industry, as Alessia has a background of private yacht and private residential houses with VIP customers. So on today's episode of Elevenses, we are going to talk about something very interesting that hopefully can be helpful for all the flight attendants out there, which is about food plating and some chef skills and some chef, let's say, hints that hopefully Alessia is willing to share with us. So let's go into that immediately with the first question. Alessia, when was your first job as a chef? How did you end up working as a chef, and did you have a mentor that helped you?
Yes, as usual, the first time for me is like jumping into something without having too much knowledge. And here also, I was at the end of my university and, doing some jobs. And one person that I knew in Austria asked me, there was a rich businessman, asked me, can you organize for me a trip to Italy for me and my partner? We want to visit Italy, but in a different way. So we don't want the traditional tourist guide. And I said, wow, that's interesting. So we started. And of course, I gave him a little schedule, itinerary. And then suddenly one day he told me, when we were already in Italy, I want to visit Sardinia. It was the beginning of summer, let's say, end of June, I think. Beginning of July, something like that. I said, no problem, we'll go to Sardinia because, of course, they knew Porto Cervo, all these places, very famous. I said, no problem, organizing, getting there, fine. And then suddenly, when we are there, said, is it possible to rent a boat, a catamaran? I said, yeah. I said, give me the budget and I'll sort it out. And of course, I'll sort it out. And we ended up in a catamaran with 2 crew. Of course, we were 2 crew and 3 guests. I was not really a guest, but, So all fine, nice. We decide a trip, where to go. And of course, because I was not a paying guest, I was feeling a little bit, with the crew. I said, can I give you a hand? I said, I don't want, it's, no, you stay. I said, I'm not a paying guest, so let me give you a hand. Said, yeah, what? I said, tell me, what, do you want me to do something in the galley, something? He said, yeah, can you cook something? I said, yes, I'll take care. And of course, I knew what these people wanted to eat. So I said, it's getting easier for you. And there were 2 men, so 2 boys. So I'm taking care a little bit of the cooking, and they were, wow, every time I was doing something, wow, wow. And I'm thinking, well, wow, something. Anyway, at the end, they asked me, listen, do you want to finish without the season when you bring these people back? I'm thinking, wow, a new experience. I'm going around the Mediterranean Sea, getting some money, and So I said, why not? Let me bring them back to Austria, and then I'm flying back. Let me know where you will be. And yes, of course. And that was my first jump as a chef. Absolutely. And the funny thing is that after this, when I finished this summer season, so it was at the end, 1 month was left when I finished with this Austrian couple. After that, because of course, skipper, captain, they talk. I said, I have a colleague is looking for a chef or somebody who can cook traditional pasta fatta a mano from Bologna. Did you said you were from? I said, yes. I said, yeah, he's very particular. He doesn't want a big chef. He really wants, can I give your number? So at the end, I ended up in the interview in Bologna with this gentleman who had a big sailing yacht who was crossing the Atlantic, and he was doing the winter season in the Caribbean, and he wants mother, grandmother, pasta, the really traditional handmade. And I said, can you do that? Because, also nowadays, very, very rare in the younger generation you have to think again that I was not in the age now. I was younger. So I said, yeah. I said, I have all my grandmother recipe knowledge, because when I left Italy, when I was 19, of course, all the family was very angry with me, didn't want me to leave. But grandmother was the only one. Well, that's a good idea. So it was the only one, very supportive. And so I asked her, can you help me to learn something before I leave? And she told me, I'll give you survival trick. I said, okay. So she said, eggs and flour. These two items you can find everywhere in the world, right?
Absolutely.
You'll never be hungry. So you always manage to survive eggs and flour. And we started preparing, I remember, a couple of days in a row, just preparing pasta, so that I learned how the dough should be. Is it enough moisture? Is it too dry? How to treat it? Because for this lady at that time, my grandmother, all this grandmother, they were really communicating with their hand and the dough. They were feeling it. It's a humid day, so you need more flour. It's a dry day, you need less flour. So a lot of things like that. So I said, okay, good. And when I reached Austria University, of course, a student, and the majority of the students, they're always without money, not so much money. Yep. So, and I was very proud, I said, now I'll show you. We can have, because of course the weekend was how to make nice things, be together without spending too much money. I said, no problem. 1 kilo flours and 10 eggs, and I'll prepare you. And they were amazed at what I was doing. So every weekend they said, Alessia, I'll bring you 1 kilo, I bring you flour. And then we started, because the rumor spread. I said, oh, I have some cheese, oh, I have some tomatoes. So it was getting elaborate. So I spent all the university time during the weekend preparing. They were bringing, I was putting my labor, my knowledge. So that's how I was practicing. So by the time I finished the university and I jumped to this sailing yacht, I had all the experience, all the practice. And he couldn't believe, because I was young. But I said, yeah, I practiced. Don't worry. So he was really, really, we matched, because I was not a big chef, but I delivered what he wanted. He wanted grandmother, mother, traditional style, homemade pasta. So he enjoyed. pasta bolognese all the way to the Caribbean, all the islands, because this is what he wanted for his family. So from there, I started, and of course, is going up, bigger yacht. Then I had to start a proper training for chef. And of course, then in the school, you have a professor that is taking care of the fish part, filleting. So it's helping you with this, and then one specific for the meat, and then for the pastry, for this. But I think mentor, as you said, the real mentor was the grandmother, because the mentor is not only the one who gives you the knowledge, okay, do this, do that, but is the one who is, I always thinking as a mentor, somebody who is following you, encouraging you, giving
Who believes in you, basically.
believes in you, instead of all the other one. And later also, when I did different courses for sushi, Indonesia, satay, Mexican, and all that, they were teacher, they were good chef, teaching, showing. But as a mentor, I always feel there's something more involved, again, emotion. And I can feel grandmother, because basically she gave me the base for starting all that. And after that, of course, I refined everything with courses. But if I didn't have the basic from her, I don't know how I will end it up. I wouldn't be so special.
What was the name of your grandma?
Vanda.
Oh, my grandma names was Vanda as well. Yeah. Nonna Vanda then.
Yeah, mother side. So that was her name. So Nonna Vanda was very, mother, of course, is also preparing, but always talking about grandmother, because why? The parents, they're always busy with work, and then it ended up the children that spend a lot of time.
The childcare
with the grandmother. Yeah. And at the end, it's always grandmother in your mind, because there were very specific moments in life. And in this case, because all the family was against me to leave, and this was the only one that supported, said, don't worry, you can make it. Eggs and flour. So, and of course she was right, because these two ingredients you find everywhere.
Yeah, right? Yeah, that's true. Yeah, not a problem.
Not a problem.
So the next question for you then, what is the most complicated part of cooking and plating a meal, on your opinion?
I think the most complicating part is not cooking, but is connecting with your guests and see what they want to eat, because many times you will end up cooking something that probably you don't like, is not your favorite food, but they like it, they enjoy it. And again, you want to give them an experience. So the most difficult part is connecting on a vibration, energy level, connecting with your guests. Of course, it's very important if you know where are they coming from, ethnicity, if you get a preference sheets, all these things will help. But I always wanted, when they were a charter, and of course they were sending through preference list, all that, to get a number and talk at least a couple of minutes with the guest, with one of the guests, Mrs., Mr., no way, because then you get even more the feeling, okay, they like this, we can do this, we can do that. And the same thing is in plating. I remember I had a lady, she was all the time, Alessia, keep it simple, but what does she mean? She keep it simple in the decoration, but she wanted every lunch 5-6 type of salad, 2-3 types, 2-3 starters. And also the captain said, why she keep on telling you keep it simple, all that? Yeah, I said the decoration she wants simple, but the rest. So, again, you need to connect with them and understand what they want, because somebody Keep it simple mean, okay, we'll have one plate, all in one, or buffet, or some. No, 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 no. Keep it simple in the decoration. Like, for example, a lot of chefs want to plate only what is eatable on the plates.
Yeah.
For example, let's say crab's head or tails. Some of them they put, some of them. So it's also your style, your philosophy. But again, the most important things, you connect with your guests, and then because then you start enjoying doing something you probably don't like to do, because you know it will create a nice situation for them,
Yeah.
pleasure for them, because they like it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's very true. Just in a normal household situation, if I have to cook mushroom risotto, I absolutely don't like mushroom whatsoever. So it's difficult for me to do that because I don't feel that that dish belongs to me at all, because I don't even enjoy it. And that's
Yeah, but as a chef, you can't dictate it what you like to your guests. You can suggest, and of course, you always try to bring it on the way where you are the best, where you're nice. But sometimes, madam, no, I want this. So then, okay. And even if you don't like it, or you have to do it.
Yeah, but yeah, for me, for example, to cook that is an additional effort, because I have to overcome the fact that I don't like the smell, I don't like the taste, but still I have to taste it to see if the rice is cooked, etc., etc.
Yeah.
So yeah, it makes a bit complicated, but anyway, it is what it is. So, next question. Do you follow a sort of logic or path when it comes to food plating?
Well, first of all, we have to see what we are plating. Like plating a starter, plating a main dish or dessert. It's different things. For example, the main dish, there are some rules, like, for example, first things needs to be the protein, aside the carbohydrate, and then a little bit of vegetables, decoration, whatever. The starters is really much more simple, and the dessert sometimes can be really complicated, especially if you want to create some effects. Nowadays, really, there are chemical reaction in they create like a smoke under the this little, how do you, this cupola, so the smoky, and they're all chemical reaction. Sometimes guests don't like, but sometimes they like it because it's a wow, it's a show. But lots of guests don't like because they know it's involved some chemicals, some gas, so they don't like. But for example, but the other important things, as I'm saying, it's color, because color, we give a message to the brain, we give energy. So color communicate with the person. And again, now we take your mushroom. When you cook mushroom, of course, the color of mushroom, it is what it is.
Yeah,
Cup
nice.
might be very nice. For example, truffle, yes, they might be very expensive, very nice, but the color, it is what it is. So when you are having such a things, you have to know, you have to create a contrast. So a vibrant color like green leaves or tomato, or for example, like this one, I'll show you. They are, don't know if you see, they are berry. See, red berry. It's they are red berry from Madagascar. They have a little bit, it's not pepper, little bit anise, little bit pungent on it, but they are very nice for decoration because they looks like little Christmas ball. See?
Yeah.
See?
Oh wow, yes.
So, and you sprinkle a couple of them, and it makes really, they are round like little balls. So, for example, in this mushroom risotto, you put a couple of them and a little leaves of basil of something, it starts giving, another dimension a little
Yeah,
bit.
elevating it. Yeah.
Yeah. Or for example, spices, star anise. I don't
Yeah.
know if you can see.
Yeah.
It's a nice star. So if you put on the top of you have done a nice dessert, and you want to give a volume, so go a little bit up and you put something, one level, second level, and to put the next level, the little stars on the top. So there are little things that you really can use to decorate the plate. But let's say the main rule is creating a contrast with color. And the other very important thing is the style. For example, you cook something Asian, Indonesian, then you can add a little orchids on the side to decorate. If you do Chinese, so also the decoration has to match the style of what you're cooking, because you can't do, I don't know, Afro or Mexican and put, I don't know,
Orchid. Yeah.
orchids or something. So it has to have, because again, it's a matter of a harmony. Because if you keep everything in nice harmony, then the the first impression to the client is always very nice. And then of course, if the first impression is nice, the client will open and will be less criticizing if later something. So it's really getting into the psychological mind of your client with all these little things. And another very important thing is the taste, because you can't create, the taste need to match the show on the plate. Because if you create a big show on the plate, very good, but then if the taste is poor, the deception, the disillusion, the disappointment is double, because you are preparing with the big show on the plate, and then he's tasting and
it lets you down.
it lets you down. So this is also very, very important, that the taste match with the show on the plate. It's a very important stuff, because otherwise the disillusion, I mean, you transmit energy with all this decoration, plating, harmony, and it needs to flow nicely from eyes, smell, nose, everything, and then the last one, taste.
Yeah, makes sense. And what is your signature dish?
My signature dish, of course, is pasta ripiena, so filled pasta, because I made so much, and of course, probably because this was bringing back to childhood. So there is more connection, and of course, you are putting in what you do your emotion, your feeling, and. Of course, if it's something connecting to nice time in your childhood, of course it will be a nice. That's why they say lots of chefs, if you are hungry, in a bad mood, don't cook, because you're gonna poison the client, because you transmit your energy into the food.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I like very much, especially when I could connect with madam, with the lady on the table, rose petal. Not flower, not edible flower, but rose petal. Really getting rose. In those days, thanks God, there was no budget. So I was quite, so there was no, but now a lot of chefs, they have a budget for this, for that. But if you were moderate, then they will let you go and you had no budget. And I could buy really nice roses and really all the petals around the food, especially, or freeze it in the ice, and then you can see in the transparency.
The eye. Oh yeah.
Yeah. I remember, and everybody, most of the time, remember those things: flowers, petals, and the filled pasta, tortellini, tortelloni, all the kind, cannelloni. That's why. See, I still go around with grandma utensils.
Wow.
Well, this is almost museum. See, you can't even use it. But when they ask me to go and do something cooking, I'll bring it with me because then they can feel really there is a connection. It's not only talking to make a show or a nice podcast, but it's really maybe it's a luck tools.
A lucky tool, yeah.
Yeah, it's a lucky tool. Yeah.
I remember once I think it was in Paris, I received a very nice catering for my private jet, and normally we order with the catering a garnish kit. So it's basically a set of different herbs that you can use, edible flowers and, basil, mint, rosemary, whatever. And you can use it for your decoration. And they have added on a part of this garnish kit, but separate, like in a small box, the rose petals. And I remember saying, I never thought about that. This is amazing. And then I took them with me for, a few days after until I had no petals anymore. Because I really enjoyed using them for plating and for the decoration. I used for the desserts. Oh my God.
Yeah. Or for example, if you have for the starter also, and if you have big, nice petals, then you can use them as a plate, really.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So there is at that time, there was not so many edible flower, all this stuff. Nowadays, micro herbs. So you had to get really creative with what you had. And I really liked this because at those times, the roses were still smelling nice. So they gave the perfume, and it was really very nice. So this is what most of the people remember me for: pasta, handmade pasta, and rose petals.
Nonna Wanda and the pasta.
And the pasta. See, well, we have the lucky one, the lucky tool.
The lucky tool. And the last question for you: what do you think are, on your opinion, the necessary skills to make a nice and good-looking food plating?
I think the chef should have, the first thing he needs, creativity, fantasy. Because you have to think when you are in your comfort zone, a nice big kitchen, you have everything is fine, and then you tick, you know exactly but you have to always to think yourself in emergency situation where you have nothing and you have to create. So I think the most important skill is having creativity and trying to do with what you have. Even if it's less, but try to do the maximum with the less, with what you have, without panicking, because I think then it's, you achieve even a great result. Sometimes you wonder yourself, wow, what I managed to do with this little things. Like last night when we had an event where we presented some peppers or peppercorn. So peppercorn is not really big, but you manage to create good atmosphere and involve people, and also with the little peppercorn you can do a lot. So for the chef, I think be creative is the most important things to have, and try to do the maximum with what you have. And plus, for example, like in your case or in my case, when you travel a lot, because the yacht or the airplane, different places, different cultures, so I'm sure you get different kits. The kits you get in Dubai is not the same like in Paris or in Rome or in Moscow. So you need to be really, wow, let's see what we have today. And with that, make and try to make as much as possible.
Since I met you the first time and you inspired me with this spicy thing, and I remember at the first podcast episode we did together, you did mention that for you the most special, like the ingredient that you will never be able to make without, are the spices. And since then, every time I fly, I try to take some time to go in a local supermarket to check the spices to create my little the kit of spices.
Yeah, because spices, most of them you see they're dry, they're little pots, so you can easily get to you. So write it down. These are Madagascar berry.
Yeah.
So, and they're very nice because they can be used in the dessert, main course, starter, area. They're really neutral, pungent, but they also match in dessert. So really, and they look like little balls. So it's like you're putting little ball. Oh, around Christmas with the cardamom. Wow, very nice. Yeah, because it's green, red, so it makes really, really nice. And the star anise on the top. I'm using this not only for Christmas time, everywhere, because now we associate with the Christmas stars, but when you are in different culture, anise, star anise is something very common. You don't need to use it only at Christmas time. So we need to always think also at the bigger picture, the bigger dimension when we work with VIP. It's not our culture, but it's their culture, where we are now at the moment, how is it the trend. And again, every time you put something of you, of yourself in everything, the client will note it. And this is when he will like you, love you, and remember you.
Indeed, indeed. Well, thank you very much for your lesson today about food plating. I truly enjoy, like always. And a lot of food for thoughts, literally food for thoughts. It's great to have your point of view and your experience. You know, the galley of a yacht is very similar to the galley of a jet. So
because the places are always smaller. It's not the big kitchen of a restaurant where you have 1,000 of pans. You have pan for this, for that. There you have with one pans do 10 different things, and I guess on the plane it must be the same.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the equipment you have is fairly limited, and sometimes even the oven is not like a massive restaurant kitchen oven, not at all. So it's the two things are very similar. Well, once again, thank you for participating today as well to Elevenses.
Thank you for having me as a guest again. So, and I'm getting also inspired for next further future works or idea, because recalling the past is always nice. Sometimes you remember, oh, I did that. Maybe we can do that in the future as well. So inspiring people and yourself.
Yes, indeed. So
double action.
Win-win situation. Well, of course, I'd like to send positive thoughts to Nonna Vanda, yours and mine.
Yeah, both. See the connection without even knowing.
Exactly.
We met on a tea level. On a tea level. Now we have grandmother with the same name. Wow.
Indeed. So, well, that's all for today then. Ciao for now and baci baci.
Ciao.